Now, Ashley, there was a possible tornado in that area.
Yeah, Darlene, that's exactly right. We've been talking to a lot of people out here today, spend most of the day cleaning up and helping crews out here try to pick up trees that were in the road that were blocking people from actually getting to their homes. I want to give you an idea of what some of these people were dealing with. You can see this tree just looks like it was just ripped.
Channel 9's Ashley Edlund is live at the scene. Ashley, signs of that crash are still scattered across the road.
Yeah, Vanessa, this is a huge scene right now. FHP says that motorcyclist was going southbound here this way. Take a look over here. They say he hit that woman and child back near the gas station. The team says after they left Central Florida, they drove throughout the night and first ended up in Baton Rouge. They were then deployed to places like Kenner and other areas hardest hit throughout the state.
Channel 9's Ashley Edlund is live in front of St. Cloud Middle School for us. And Ashley, that parent says the school called him and gave him very little information.
Greg, he called it the dreaded phone call. He says the school told him his student may or may not have been exposed to somebody who may or may not have tested positive. The CDC is still trying to identify the exact link between vaping and these sicknesses. Doctors say the patients all vaped. They were very short of breath with their lungs inflamed, and they ended up needing a breathing tube quickly.
Channel 9's Ashley Edlund is live in our studio tonight with us. And Ashley, you received a picture of Hawkins at that event that appeared to show no social distancing and no mask.
Yeah, Greg, take a look here at that picture. We got it from a viewer, but it's also posted on the Education Foundation of Osceola County's website. Now, you can see Fred Hawkins not social distancing and not wearing a mask, but it's the timeline of when he was at this event and others that is causing the biggest concern. This is the command post here right behind me. And these guys just had a 10-minute briefing to go over everything. Specifically asked them today how many people were at the event, how many people have been told they need to quarantine.
The 24th is when I got the call from the manager of DCF saying, hey, Ms. King, I need you to come to Parish Medical Center. Your daughter is found unconscious.
For Nikisha Hicks King, the past week has been a nightmare. Her 4-year-old daughter Joy died after Titusville police say she was abused and neglected while in the care of her foster mother, 41-year-old Lakeisha Mitchell. Mitchell is now behind bars facing charges of neglect and abuse.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything.
King told me her children were removed from her home in January because of potential abuse by the father of one of her children. She puts the blame on herself.
I made a mistake and trusted somebody. This is not just a random person. This was my youngest child's father, and I trusted him with my kids.
King and her mother, LaTanya Hicks, say Joy had behavioral problems and was in several homes before ending up with Mitchell.
When my baby first got placed in her home, Ms. Mitchell reached out to me and told me who she was. She said, I have your baby in my home, and I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that she's in good hands.
But she says she started noticing something wasn't right during one of her unsupervised visits around early June.
She was in so much pain. She didn't have bruises. I checked her body. She didn't have bruises, but her body was in pain.
Nikisha says she went to the case manager with Brevard Family Partnership.
When I approached my case manager at the end of that visit, she looked at me and said, she fell.
She says she reached out to the case manager again when she noticed burn marks on the little girl's arms, but claims the caseworker did nothing. Then, tragedy.
I can't hear my baby's voice anymore. I miss Joy so much. So much. That's all I think about. She's all I think about.
Through the tears, they tell me their next steps are to fight for justice.
They failed her.
I spoke to Brevard Family Partnership, the agency Joy was in the custody of. I requested documents from them, and I also asked them today if they wanted to be part of this story. They told me they would get back to me. I also got in touch with DCF, and they told me they have an active investigation into this case. Reporting in Orlando, Ashley Edlund, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
So far, one person has died in the state of Florida and 68 other people have become sick after vaping. That's according to the Florida Department of Health. And tonight we sat down with a father who says he saw what vaping did to his son firsthand. Channel 9's Ashley Edlund has the emotional story.
Michael Doherty says at first when his son Jimmy started getting sick last month, he thought the 20-year-old just wasn't feeling well.
We thought he had a little bit under the weather, had a cold or a flu.
Jimmy ended up in the ICU. He was put in an induced coma and had a ventilator breathing for him.
And he was coming to. And the look of panic in his eyes, nothing can prepare you for something that's as severe as that.
Jimmy recovered. He made it out of the hospital.
He's improving. He still has a lot of weight to put back on. He still is working on trying to improve his lung volume.
Now he says he wants his son's story to send a strong message.
He wasn't somebody that bought off the street. He bought from a store, and therefore he thought he was safe. It's like playing Russian roulette, and you don't want to be a statistic, and I wish we weren't part of this statistic.
The CDC is still trying to identify the exact link between vaping and these sicknesses. Doctors say the patients all vaped. They were very short of breath with their lungs inflamed, and they ended up needing a breathing tube quickly. Back to you.
Are you Luis?
Yes. When we tracked down Luis then Vargas today, he told us he didn't know what to think when his two friends drove up to his auto shop May 31st with a body slumped over in the front seat.
At first I thought he was leaving, yeah.
These documents Channel 9 got back that story up. It says the body of 16-year-old Bruce Higgins Jr. was slumped over toward the driver's side with his head resting on the center console area. The documents also say the two men charged in Higgins' murder, Rivera Jr. and his father, met at then Vargas's auto shop on West Robinson Street within 15 minutes of the shooting that took Higgins' life. The documents say the two wanted then Vargas to clean up the blood from the car. At first he refused, then changed his mind and said his son could do the job.
Did you know at the time when you refused that he was dead?
I wasn't sure.
The documents say his son did end up cleaning the car. But the son also had a lot of concerns about what was going on. When he started asking questions, the father and son told him someone got robbed.
Did they say anything while he was in the car?
Yes, they said he tried to rob them. He tried to rob the kid, and that's why they got in a gunfight inside the car.
The documents also reveal Rivera Sr. told police he did what he did to help his son. Rivera Sr. explained that he, Higgins, was already gone, and Rivera Jr. was in panic mode after the shooting.
Are you afraid that any charges could be pressed against you or your son?
First, yes. But now that I know I didn't help with anything, I was just scared at the time.
Good evening to all of you. A confrontation in Albany 6 months after we brought you the story of Angelica Nappy, a 14-year-old killed in 2008 by a driver with 7 license suspensions.
Currently, 10 or more suspensions on a license is considered a misdemeanor in New York State. Angelica's family is fighting to make 5 or more suspensions a felony. It is a promise her mother, Dawn, made to Angelica in her final moments. But so far, her promise has gone unfulfilled. Each year in the Assembly, the bill stalls. Ashley Edlund took a trip to Albany to investigate.
So do you not want to save lives?
Dawn Nappy, a grieving mother, frustrated and at her wit's end, contacted us last year just after the 9-year anniversary of the crash that took her daughter Angelica's life.
I want answers as to what the problem is. Nobody seems to be giving me a direct answer.
So we reached out to the head of the Transportation Committee for comment, David Gant. Gant is an assemblyman. His district is in Rochester. But our calls went unanswered. We called his office phones and cell phone regularly for the next 6 months, but never heard back. So we took a trip to Albany for the first scheduled transportation meeting of 2018 and asked Assemblyman Gant in person to talk about Angelica's Law. The meeting was scheduled to start at 10:30. Assemblyman Gant arrived at 12:47, and when we finally got the chance to speak with him, he quickly declined.
Oh, I don't talk to the news media.
Why not?
Because I don't.
I've been trying to get in touch with you for months. Can we just talk about Angelica's Law for a second?
You can talk about Angelica Law you want to. I don't talk to news media.
But I kept asking questions, and Assemblyman Gant eventually told me Angelica's Law wasn't at all stalled in his committee.
Why don't you go check your information?
But it's stalled right now.
Pardon?
It's stalled.
It's stalled. It's not stalled. We'll have this is our first meeting.
It's stalled.
Where you come from?
Assemblyman Dean Murray, who is in favor of passing Angelica's Law, says he's tried everything to get Assemblyman Gant to answer the same questions we've been asking to no avail.
I actually amended the bill and gave his office a copy of the amended version based on what I thought might be his objections, because he hasn't made clear what his objections are.
And he had a response to Assemblyman Gant's claims that Angelica's Law isn't at all stalled.
Here's what I'm saying to him. I'm putting in paperwork to get it on the agenda. When it comes up on the agenda, then I'm urging you to let it through. Let it go to the next level. But he has yet to do that.
Nappy traveled to Albany last week to confront Gant about the bill, and we saw it play out in front of our cameras.
Yeah, maybe it has to happen to one of your own for you to do something about it.
One of who own?
One of your own loved ones.
What does that mean? That sounds racial.
No, it isn't. Maybe one of your loved ones has to be affected.
But Nappy says it isn't about Angelica at this point. No, it's much bigger.
I'm not fighting this fight for 10 years for my daughter. It's too late for her. It's for other people.
A fight she says she won't stop until the law changes.
It's not about playing politics. It's about saving people's lives.
Assemblyman Gant left the transportation meeting after about 15 minutes and has not been in touch with us since. We did call his office while in Albany and left him a message before leaving Rochester, but again, we never got a response. Maureen. But I want you to take a look over here because we were talking to a man today while we were out here surveying some of the damage, and he showed us something that I think is really going to bring this home for you. Take a look. He says that here he had 2 trailers. You can see this indent where the trailers were right here in the dirt. But if you walk over here with me a little bit, you can see that he says that these 2 trailers actually ended up right over here. And he says he watched those 2 trailers go from that spot I just took you from to right over here outside of his window.